Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening. Welcome to being here wherever you are on our lovely planet. I'm Ariel.
I'm Shia.
Oh, today's a fun episode.
Letting those around you shine.
There's something so satisfying when you allow those around you to shine. They experience their brilliance and you get to bask in it.
Well, transformation is a win-win. It's not about you winning and other people losing. So if you're really supporting the people around you, they will shine and they will reflect your brilliance and how they show up. I worked for a company years ago where if you were a good manager, the people you managed were better than you. They'd show up better, they'd shine.
I hadn't really thought about that in a while, Shia, but I realized I was.
Yes.
If you are blowing your nose.
Well, hey, you're allowed to.
Yeah.
It's either that or the alternative.
What?
It's not rule out while you're talking.
That probably wouldn't. That's not the kind of shine you want.
No.
I was working on putting out newsletters recently with Zoe. Shout out to you. You do such a great job. And one of the things that happens is we get together on Zoom.
Yes.
And I can see her, she can see me. And then sometimes I have her share the screen. So when she's doing things, I get to see her putting it into the program we use, which is called MailChimp, which formats it and sets it out.
Mm-hmm.
She is by far better than me at that. I love watching her expertise and just sitting back and basking in it.
Well, the truth is that if you watch anybody who's really good at what they do, it's a gift to watch them work. When they're doing it as an expression of themselves rather than to get something over with.
I love that.
Yeah.
One of the best ways to support somebody or let them shine is by really listening to them. Not to see if you already know it or to agree or disagree, but simply hear what they have to say from their perspective. It's quite lovely. Should we take our first guest?
Oh, let's.
Excellent. Lenore, welcome to being here. Please tell people where you're zooming in from.
I'm here from Montclair, New Jersey. Yeah. And I have to say how grateful I am that I have expanded my ideas about listening, being in relationship with you guys. I now really listen, and I'm capable of really listening to another person and not having to be the center of attention, because there's a way to listen so that everybody knows, see, I'm listening, as opposed to really taking in what another person is saying. And I have noticed that sometimes I compare myself. I get into a feeling less than when I am just listening and somebody's doing great and I feel less. It doesn't always.
I understand what you're saying. I notice it when we were leading seminars, that when the seminar is really, really humming and going well, I've got nothing to say, but I am the space in which that seminar is taking place. So I'm actually creating what's happening there without doing anything. And you can start looking from that position or point of view, Lenore, where
Yeah.
if it's really going well, that's a reflection of your holding the space for your class, say, because I know you're a teacher, for your class, if the kids are expressing themselves well, you don't have to say anything
But I'll
because
bet
it's in your space.
I'll bet that phenomena of comparison happens less in a classroom situation where you're the teacher, they're the student, than when you're participating, say, in one of our seminars and it's one of your peers that is doing well, or you're at a teacher meeting and one of your peers is shining, that somehow your attention goes back on yourself and you compare, and in that comparison you come up short.
Correct. Yes.
Well, know that your mind does that. It compares. That's one of the design functions of your mind is for your survival. And for you to survive, you need to compare what's happening to where it thinks you ought to be. And so you talk to yourself about what's going on as if it has something to do with how you're going to survive. But if you
Right.
relax, Lenore, you'll be able to be there appropriate to what's wanted and needed, and you'll provide it. You always have. If you look, you've always provided what was needed.
Yes.
Well, you identified something earlier in this conversation that you used to do listening, like you would show you were listening, which was and is, in your experience, distinctly different from when you're actually taking in information. What'd you do to get that to happen?
Wow. That's a great question. Um, what did I do? Maybe it's more what I stopped doing. I don't,
Well, that's good. You're getting warmer.
right. I
I
don't,
suspect you don't know, right?
that's correct.
It happened.
Yeah, you did absolutely nothing to listen.
Oh, that's
You just discovered you were listening that way.
That's transformation.
See, change is based in setting goals to listen more clearly.
Problem. So the problem is I'm showing that I'm listening and I'm not actually taking it in. Let me do something about that.
That is all change. But what you're talking about is a transformational shift that happened. And
While you were living your life.
you didn't do anything to make it happen. Suddenly, your ability to listen just got refined.
yes.
And it wasn't that you did something or told yourself, I should listen better.
That's
You,
true.
yes, you fell into the current moment of your life.
And listening happens.
That
See,
is true.
it's not about getting somewhere. It's about being where you already are. But you see, we've all been programmed with the idea that where we are isn't enough. That's a better place to be. There's a better way to listen. There's a better, well, maybe there is no better. Maybe all there is what is in this moment. That's it. Not someday, now. This is it. No place to get to. But what you're talking about is the miracle, the majesty of the moment, where suddenly you are so here and you didn't tell yourself to get here.
True.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay. Shai and I are now two of your art students.
Okay.
And Shai just made this gorgeous fishing fly.
Ah.
All I made was a pair of sock puppets. And I'm looking at Shia and I'm comparing myself, and my sock puppets are less. What would you say to me if you saw me holding myself and my creative expression is less?
I would say that
Don't
you're
do. I'm Ariel. Talk to me.
Ariel. Those
Mhm.
are great sock puppets. They don't make a very good fly, but they make great sock puppets. Congratulations.
Lenore,
Yeah.
what you teach is great. They don't make very good other people's teaching, but what you do is great.
If I had you as a teacher, I consider myself to be very lucky.
Mm.
See, here's the other thing. You entered the teaching profession late in life.
I did.
Yeah. And so you don't consider yourself that great a teacher because you haven't had all of the instructions and teaching that the younger teachers have because they went to college to learn to be teachers and you
Right.
did. Many years ago, 50 years ago approximately, uh, I was, well, not quite, but almost. In 1975, I was hired by a company to be trained to lead their trainings.
Mhm.
And there were a series of different programs you were supposed to go through. You were supposed to go through the guest seminar leaders program. You were supposed to go through the graduate seminar leaders program. You were supposed to go through the logistic supervisors training. You were supposed to go through the training supervisors training. All these different things that I hadn't done.
Yeah.
And they said, don't give him any of those.
Yeah, it was
Just
like
skip all that.
it was like because I was operating in my own experience in a way that those programs were supposed to get you to. But I was
Yes.
already there for my life experience. See, you have certain life experience that has made you an extraordinary teacher, that most teachers don't have that experience. They have book learning, yes,
Right.
but the direct experience of how to be with a student in a way that that person sees their own greatness, where around you they shine,
Yeah.
reflect their brilliance. That's a reflection of who you are, not what you've been taught.
That being said, there are a number of people where in the school you teach,
Yes.
who are far younger than you, who've been teaching maybe even for a decade.
Yes.
And you could learn from them. I guarantee you, they recognize your brilliance and your life experience and what you have to offer. And if you were learning from me as an educator, I would feel pretty darn good about myself because I see who you are and that Lenore is listening to me.
Right.
That is really a cool way to let the people around you shine.
Ah, I love that.
Not what you do,
Hmm.
it's what you bring to the moment.
It's who you are.
Thank you.
There,
Yeah.
I recently we did a seminar. In fact, our next guest was at this seminar, and there was somebody having a hard time articulating herself at the seminar. And this other individual just kept asking questions. She was genuinely curious until we all got the essence of what the person who was struggling had to share. And we all experienced her heart, and she glowed. And if she wasn't willing, if the gal wasn't willing to keep asking questions and to not know and genuinely be interested, we all would have lost out.
Mm. That's beautiful. It's just beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah.
What a treat to be with you today.
Yeah.
And with you, really sweet. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Yeah, something's happened for you recently, Lenore. You just look different to me.
Hmm.
Very nice way. Like there's a stillness in you that I haven't seen in a while.
Well, I, I speak to you more often than Shai does. Not only are we all friends, you and I do things socially. And there was something you told me recently that touched me so much. I know your father passed away in the recent past, and you went into class, and kids are like, "Hey, how are you?" And you're like, "Well," you shared with them in whatever way was appropriate, because I wasn't there, that your father passed away and that the celebration of life was coming up, and they were determined to make him an artwork bouquet of flowers, or a poster that had flowers on it, expressing their caring for him because you were their legacy. And then you told me that somewhere you're like, "Oh, okay, now we have the lesson." They're like, "No, no, no. We have to get this perfect. We have to have it be beautiful for your dad."
Yeah.
And you let them be these creative, self-expression young people who created something you could bring to that celebration of life, which is such an incredible legacy.
Yeah.
And there's a vulnerability about you that is new, powerful.
Yeah, it looks like you're, for me, 20 years younger than you are.
Well,
Like something has relaxed in your facial muscles have relaxed. So there's something that really good has happened. I hate to talk good, bad because that's all change, but there's been a transformational shift in the way you're being in this moment. And it's obvious. You're not trying to prove anything. Lenore is here.
I feel here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Hey, you want to hear about transformation?
Mm-hmm.
We've got one of our listeners about to tell you about what's happened in their life out of listening to being here.
Mm.
Hi, this is Susan in Brooklyn, New York. And I listen to the podcast, Ariel and Shaya's podcast, Being Here, almost every week when a new one comes out. I just find that they're so refreshing and they're fun too. The topics are always something that will touch a part of what's happening in my life, and I find them very inspiring. And I also attend as many seminars, be them on Monday nights or Living Made Easy, or the weekend seminars, or Costa Rica, or anything that these guys are offering, because I find it very valuable and very practical. And I highly recommend joining us for any of them. Thank you.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel and Shire's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
You're welcome to join us for our next Living Made Easy seminars coming up this Saturday and next Monday.
That's February 10th and February 12th.
If you'd like to join us for our upcoming weekends, we have a virtual one happening and one in person.
The virtual one is March 2nd and 3rd. It's called The Power of Listening.
I love that. Then we're going to Hamburg, Germany in April. we're doing two courses there, and of course a live evening afterwards. But the Freedom to Breathe Day is a Thursday, April 18th.
And then Simplicity,
It's a Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday.
then April 19th, 20th, and 21st.
You can find out all about it on our website, transformationmadeeasy.com. And while you're there, if you haven't already done it, may as well sign up for our newsletter because it's really quite inspiring. Ready for our next guest?
I am.
Oh, goody. Elfie, welcome to being here. Tell people where you're zooming.
Hi, I am Elfie and I'm living in Hamburg and I am here in Hamburg, Germany.
Yay, we're coming to see you in April, Elfie.
Yes, sure, I will be there.
We will be happy to umarmen, hug you in person.
Oh, thank you. I would like to do it before in Costa Rica.
That would be lovely.
Yeah.
What can we do for you, honey?
Yes, first I have to say it's a pleasure to be with you. I know you since about 15 years or 16 years.
Wow.
Now. And when I first met you, I had this feeling of I have something to do to shine. It's not enough that I am Elfie. I have to do something about it.
Yes.
And I can recognize that that changed, transformed. I'm not sure about this. Yeah, I can notice it, that there's not so much. Sometimes there is a judgment about me or others, but so less.
That's great. You know, when you stop judging yourself and thinking you ought to be different than you are, then you really get an opportunity to experience your life. Otherwise, your life is in constant comparison to how you think you ought to be rather than allowing yourself to be as you are.
That's so true. And what I experienced the last year was that I could see how what an impact I have for other people.
How does it show up, Elfie? And I'll tell you why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling you've been looking and seeing and paying attention. And I know that there are many listeners who are unclear or they do not know, they're not aware of the profound difference they make in other people's lives. And I have a feeling you articulating it will support them in seeing themselves more clearly.
Yeah. I'm not sure how to describe it, but I have a new love, and I met his family, and since I am there, I can see that peace and love is coming into this family.
Yes.
Well, I see one thing is you're owning it. You're willing to say, I see peace and love coming into this family, and I am a catalyst for that. I have a part in that, or that comes from me rather than being false humble.
That family was the way it was until you showed up.
Yeah, I have nothing done with them.
Right. And then when you showed up, just your being there shifted the way they related to each other.
That's so true. I can see this, but there's my question. In the formal relationship, there was no way for me to have this impact. I had this feeling.
That's why it's your former relationship. You know, there
Well,
were,
you
cou-
see,
I'm,
there's another thing.
Yeah,
Your new relationship, that's Robert, right?
yeah, that's it.
Yes, we met him in Hamburg last year.
Yeah,
He came to a seminar with you and met us.
yeah,
That was a statement of his being willing to discover other possibilities other than the way his life had been lived until he met you.
that's true.
He
and
saw something in you that was so different than everybody else that he wanted that inner peace, that calmness that you are.
and clearly you were offering him something as opposed to going, Robert, you got to come to this because you need it. Which made it safe for him to come. And it was a delight to meet him and watch him relax into himself, really. Because, and I go back to that's why that former relationship is your former. I realized that there were a number of people, although I've been together this year, will be our 40th wedding anniversary, and we'll have been together for 42 years, Shai and I. So my having dated other people was a long time ago. But I do recall one of the things or the primary thing that really ended relationships was the person I was in relationship with. I didn't feel I could make a difference with. They weren't listening to me. It was everything was reluctant. With Shy and I, there's a quality of yes, you want that? Yes. Why would I withhold myself or something? There's and rather than feeling like I'm subjugated to him or he's subjugated to me, there's something really uplifting about being able to be here for each other.
Yes, I can say yes to it for myself too. And what I can see is that I allow me to have it since I am with you. To have not
That's
to
very
think, oh,
good.
I
That's
have to live with this fault.
that you say you allow it. That is so good because you've been taught not to be dominated by a man.
Yeah.
Well, I do recall.
And I'm not saying that Robert dominates you. I'm saying you have to keep surrendering to your partner
Yeah.
because otherwise there is no partnership.
Yeah.
In surrender, Shai is not talking about becoming smaller.
Not being a doormat. I'm
Because
talking about allowing yourself to hear what they request of you and grant them that as a gift.
Yeah.
If it works in your experience.
I obviously we were around for your previous relationship and now for your new love. And one of the things I was always taken by with your past relationship was my impression that if you got big or you got excited or you got enthusiastic, he felt it was a threat.
Yeah.
So you often tried to make yourself smaller in order to make him happy.
But he was unwilling to be happy no matter what you did.
Yeah.
So you would come to Costa Rica, you would be so excited about the quality of your life. You would come home and it would be like, don't talk to me about this.
Yeah, that's so true.
And I'll tell you, in the letting those around you shine framework, if somebody comes with us to Costa Rica or they go to see, we had a friend the other night talking about going to Las Vegas and seeing an exhibit there they called the Sphere. And he was so excited about his experience of getting a hotel room where he could see it and then going inside. And it created a 3-dimensional movie that included sounds and air movement. He was so excited about it. Nobody, as far as I could tell, was going, he had something we don't. Would you just calm down, please? People got excited about their lives because he was excited about his life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, it's not your responsibility to have the people around you shine. It's up to them. See, with your first relationship or the previous relationship, nothing you could do could convince this person to have a good time.
He was always saying he has a good time, but it was not true.
That's right.
People say things, but then you have this experience of them that overrides what they're saying.
Yeah.
It was a saying, I hear what you say, but who you are speaks too loudly.
Yeah.
And so he would say the right things, but that wasn't your experience being around him.
Yeah. And you answered my question. How can it happen that somebody around me doesn't shine?
Well, they don't want to.
Yeah.
They don't want to. It's not only that they don't want to, they're afraid to.
Yeah, maybe that.
I see people as limited in their ability to experience life because they're afraid if they let go of what they know, they won't be able to get back somehow. They'd lose themselves.
We haven't talked about this for a while, Elfie. I don't know anything about your ex, so I can't really speak to him or your former relationship. But I have noticed something recently. Chad and I used to talk with people about it a lot. It's kind of moved away now. Part of why people around you don't shine, they can't shine, you won't get them to shine, or if they do, they'll blossom, you'll go, there you are, and they'll take it away. If they have a prior commitment to a vendetta they have with someone from their past,
like their parents.
So if they're angry with their father did it wrong, or
their mother
did it wrong.
I mean, you're a woman. Any incompletion with your ex-boyfriend's mother
will be played out through you.
That's right.
So,
and if he wouldn't give it to her, he certainly isn't going to give it to you.
Yeah.
And I have seen it over and over where a person cannot let their life fully blossom because then it would ultimately mean that their parent didn't do it wrong, because after everything they succeeded. Mm-hmm. And so if I am well and I succeed, I cannot continue the vendetta with whomever I'm holding it against.
Yeah.
And for some people, that's more important
than having a magical life.
Yeah, and you put the finger on the right thing. I know it from experience. I have met his mother before she died.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And he was withholding. I can say that's true.
Yeah, of course.
So then but it's his choice.
It's very obvious if you have eyes to see. Mm-hmm. When you look, you see what's obvious. And here's the thing. If he would withhold from you, he's got to be withholding from everyone else as well, especially and including himself.
But here's what I love about it. I love that you had the honesty to move on, to release him. Because I'm not saying that your former man has anything wrong with him. But clearly he was not willing going to let go of, for instance, that withholding with you, that doesn't mean that it won't happen with the next person. Maybe he will connect up with the person that for whatever reason it works for him. And if it doesn't, it's not your problem, but there's something really lovely about letting a person move on.
Well, you're letting him move on, allowed you to move on and find somebody who really can express their love for you.
Yeah. That's so
That's
true.
great. I mean, because if you stayed with this other guy, you'd still be hoping that someday he'll recognize you.
And I actually saw that you stayed with him out of a sense of loyalty for far longer than you did it perfectly. The timing was perfect. If you left sooner, you might not have met Robert. So I'm not saying you did anything wrong, but I'm addressing that. So many of us have internalized ideas of what a good person would do. And we're trying so hard to be good. We stay in situations that may not work for us far longer.
I know that, yes, that's true. And you have seen it 5 years ago already. But I couldn't do it at this time.
I was there 5 years ago too, but you weren't ready to give it up.
No.
That's so true. That's true.
Sometimes it's just comfortable and we'll just stay here.
And comfortable is uncomfortable.
Yes.
Mhm.
You know, I stayed in a marriage that was uncomfortable for a long time until my ex-wife asked me to leave.
Yeah.
And
Thank God.
And see, I'm so glad she released him because
Yeah,
here we
otherwise
are.
we never would have met you, you see.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have met Ariel and we never would have gone to Germany.
And his ex-wife has now been married for 40 years or going on 40 years as well. That they let each other go. They could find somebody they were far more compatible with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
I know I talked about you in the last segment. We were talking with Lenore. Thank you for your ongoing curiosity. And you're being curious about what that other participant was actually meaning to say, transform the quality of everyone's life who was there. And now I suspect some of these people too as listeners. So you inspire us, Elfie.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes. You definitely inspire us.
If you would like to and haven't done it yet, subscribe to the podcast and share it with your friends. Elfie and Lenore and this entire podcast are worth sharing. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our newsletter. You can find all our courses and the newsletter sign-up link at transformationmadeeasy.com. Next week's episode,
generosity.
That's the theme. We'll be back next week. So come on back and don't miss being here.